The doors of the throne hall burst open before the guards could announce anyone, and I already knew this day was going to break me. My name is Vaira, heir to the Kethrani dominion, ruler of 900 worlds, and I had just finished my 499th rejection of the year. My hands were shaking under my robes, not from fear, from exhaustion. I had not slept more than 4 hours a night for 11 months, and every single one of those months had been filled with suitors who wanted my crown more than they wanted me. The guard at the door looked panicked. "Princess, the human envoy is here. He is late." He pushed past the line. I almost laughed. Late. Pushing past a line of nobles who had waited for hours to be seen. This was either the boldest man in the galaxy or the most foolish one. He walked in wearing a uniform that did not fit him properly, his collar crooked, his breathing heavy, like he had been running through the palace halls. A small device in his ear was blinking red, which meant his translator was malfunctioning. My court audibly gasped. Nobody arrives before the Kethrani heir looking like they just escaped a fire. "I am so sorry," he said, his voice arriving half a second behind his lips because of the broken translator. "Your transit system is incredibly fast, and I got lost twice." Nobody spoke like that to me, not in 11 months. Not once. I should tell you what had happened before him, so you understand why this moment mattered so much. Suitor after suitor had walked through those same doors dressed in war medals, psychic crowns, gene-engineered perfection, each one reciting compliments about my eyes, my hair, my bloodline. Not one of them asked how I was feeling. Not one noticed that the woman on the throne had dark circles under her eyes that no royal makeup could hide. They saw a crown. They saw power. They saw 900 worlds waiting to be inherited. They did not see me. And now, standing in front of me, breathless and unpolished, was a man who had just apologized for being late to meet me, as if I were an ordinary person whose time mattered. "You're forgiven," I said, my voice cracking slightly, betraying just how tired I really was. The last suitor arrived 40 minutes early and made me watch him practice his own introduction 3 times. He blinked. That sounds like a nightmare. It was. For the first time in 11 months, I smiled, and it was not a diplomatic smile. It was real, and it startled even me. His name was Daniel, a junior attaché from Earth, not even the leader of his delegation. Earth was a new player in galactic politics, barely 2 years into contact with my people, and my council had only invited a human representative out of formality, expecting nothing to come of it. Nobody in that hall, including me, expected the evening to end the way it did. But then the ground shook. Not metaphorically, actually shook. The chandeliers above us swung violently, and screams erupted from the back of the hall. Alarms blared through every speaker in the palace, a sound I recognized instantly, a sound that meant only one terrible thing. "Breach," the guard captain shouted, sprinting toward me. "Unauthorized vessel has broken through the outer shield. It's already inside the palace perimeter." My heart slammed against my ribs. In 900 years, no ship had ever broken through the Kethrani shield. It was considered impossible. Every noble in that hall who had come to court me scattered instantly, running for exits, screaming for their guards, abandoning every ounce of the elegance they had shown me minutes earlier. Daniel did not run. He grabbed my arm, not roughly, but firm enough to pull me off my throne, and behind one of the massive stone pillars flanking the dais. "Stay low," he said, his voice steady, despite the chaos exploding around us. "Whoever they are, they came in fast and quiet. That means they don't want to fight in the open, they want a target. And right now, you're standing in the brightest lit spot in this entire building." He was right. I had never thought of my own throne room as a trap, but from where he had pulled me, I could see it clearly. The dais was lit by 100 golden lanterns, making me visible from every angle. I had spent my whole life being taught how to sit on that throne with grace. Nobody had ever taught me how to survive an attack on it. The doors at the far end of the hall exploded inward, and 4 armored figures marched through the smoke. Their armor bore no crest I recognized, which meant they were not soldiers of any known kingdom. Mercenaries, most likely, sent by someone who wanted the Kethrani throne left without an heir. "Where is the princess?" one of them shouted, his voice distorted by his helmet. My guards moved to intercept them, but there were only 6 guards left in the hall, and 4 heavily armored intruders were already firing. Bolts of energy tore through the air, striking pillars, shattering the ancient stone carvings that had stood for centuries. One of my guards fell, and I felt my breath catch in my throat. "We need another way out," Daniel whispered, scanning the hall with a calmness that made no sense for a man who had arrived at this palace less than 20 minutes earlier. "Is there a service corridor behind that dais?" "How do you know about service corridors?" "Every building has them. Answer the question." "Yes. Behind the throne, hidden by the tapestry." "Good. When I say run, you run there, and you do not look back at me. I am not leaving you to fight 4 armored soldiers alone. You're not leaving me to fight anyone. You're leaving, so that if I fail, there is still a Kethrani heir alive tomorrow. That matters more than either of us." I wanted to argue, but there was no time. One of the intruders had spotted the pillar we were hiding behind, and was already moving toward it, weapon raised. Daniel grabbed a fallen guard's sidearm from the floor, checked it with fast, practiced hands, and looked at me with an expression I will never forget. Calm, focused, and completely unafraid. "Run," he said. I ran. Behind me, I heard the sharp crack of energy fire, heard Daniel's voice shouting something in his own language that I did not understand, heard the heavy thud of armored bodies hitting stone floor. I did not look back, because he told me not to, and because some part of me trusted a man I had known for less than half an hour, more than I trusted anyone who had knelt before me in the past 11 months. The service corridor was narrow and dark, lit only by dim emergency lights along the floor. I pressed my back against the cold stone wall, my heart pounding so loudly I was certain it could be heard through the walls. Every second of silence felt like an hour. I did not know if Daniel was alive. I did not know if the intruders had already found this corridor. I did not know anything, except that I was, for the first time in my life, genuinely afraid of dying. Footsteps echoed behind me, fast and uneven. I pressed myself deeper into the shadows, my hands searching blindly for anything I could use to defend myself. "Vaishira," a voice whispered. Daniel's voice. I nearly collapsed with relief. He stumbled into the corridor, a burn mark scorched across his shoulder, blood trickling from a cut above his eyebrow, but alive, standing, breathing. "2 of them are down," he said, breathing hard. "The other 2 are searching the west wing. We don't have long before they figure out where you actually went." "You're hurt." "I've had worse." "You've known me for 20 minutes." "Then I suppose today has been a very fast 20 minutes. Despite everything, despite the fear still gripping my chest, I almost laughed again. There was something about him, something steady and unshaken, that made the chaos around us feel survivable. We moved through the corridor together, his hand steady on my shoulder, guiding me past turns I had never known existed in my own palace. When we reached a security checkpoint deep beneath the throne hall, my personal guard finally found us, a full squad arriving with reinforcements summoned from the lower barracks. The remaining intruders were captured within the hour, their armor stripped, their identities still unknown, though my council later confirmed they had been hired by a rival noble house hoping to seize the throne during the confusion of my suitor selections. By the time the palace was declared secure, the sun had already begun to rise over the eastern towers, painting the shattered throne hall in soft orange light. I stood beside Daniel on the palace steps, both of us exhausted, both of us alive, watching medics tend to the wounded, and guards clear the wreckage. "You saved my life," I said quietly. "You didn't have to do that. You are not even part of my kingdom." "I didn't do it because of your kingdom," he said. "I did it because you were a person in danger, and I happened to be standing next to you. That's it. That's the whole reason." That was the difference. Every suitor before him had wanted my throne. He had simply refused to let a person die in front of him, without once thinking about what I could offer him in return. I turned to face him fully, ignoring the stares of the surviving nobles gathering nervously behind us. 500 suitors stood in that hall trying to win my throne. You walked in late, apologized for it, and then risked your life without asking what you would gain. I wasn't trying to win anything. I know, that's exactly why you did. The court did not understand what happened next, and honestly, neither did my own counsel, who spent the following days debating ancient customs and diplomatic protocol that had never accounted for a foreign envoy fighting off an assassination attempt on the same night he arrived. But none of that mattered to me. I had spent 11 months searching a room full of perfect strangers for someone who saw me, instead of my crown, and I found him in the last person anyone expected. A tired, breathless, unpolished man who ran toward danger instead of away from it, and who never once, not for a single second, treated me like a prize to be won. I chose him that night, not because tradition demanded it, and not because my council approved of it, but because when everything around us had fallen into chaos, he had looked at me and seen a person worth protecting, not a throne worth claiming. And that, in the end, was worth more than every crown in the galaxy.